I am not grabbed.
You're not grabbed. Okay.
I'm
Let's
not
talk
grabbed.
about it.
All right, welcome to the podcast. We are doing an analysis of episode 3 of The Wheel of Time, A Place of Safety. I am joined with script consultant and producer Kristy Lussier. Kristy, thanks for being with us.
Always excited to be here.
Awesome. All right, so I'm going to hit you with this log line. You ready?
Okay, yeah.
Moiraine and Lan find help in an unexpected and unwanted quarter as the separated villagers try to find their way back to each other, or at least to refuge. But they all soon learn how far the Dark One's reach extends. All right.
Yeah.
So we got through that log line. So this episode 3, this is typically where a show will grab you as a viewer and make you invested in the show. Before we kind of dive into that, do you have any quick first thoughts for me?
There's a lot of things I really like in this episode. So out of the first 3, this actually probably is like more to my favorite of the 3 so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am not grabbed.
You're not grabbed. Okay.
Let's
talk
grabbed.
about it.
I'm not grabbed yet.
Okay.
I'm curious to see, like, I could watch another episode. I'm not turned away from it, but I'm not like, oh, I gotta know what happens next.
Sure. Yeah.
So I want to give it another episode, see, like, pay attention to me and be like, okay, this is the one that got me.
Right.
It was interesting how they open this episode. What the show does really well is they set up something and then they twist it. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So the opening with you're gonna have to help me here.
It's Nynaeve.
Nynaeve, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
My Wheel of Time mentor.
You can always reference like the lady with the braid.
Yes.
Everyone will know who you're talking about.
I can't say the pretty lady because they're all pretty.
Well, they're all pretty. Yeah.
Everybody
but the
on this
lady... show
is pretty. So I can't say that. So the mentor character for her, played by Zoe Robbins. So she got away and that was the big teaser. She got away. Typically in a show, what they would do is they would go 2 directions. They would drag out that mystery so that we don't know what happened, or she would get her own episode, and it would provide character development of how she escaped. We didn't get any of that. What they decided to do was a teaser. The whole teaser was her escape.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now, from a story perspective, can I hit you with this?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So she's being dragged by the Trolloc.
Yeah.
And one Trolloc is wounded. And the wounded Trolloc is leaning, and he's or she, I don't know, is really feigning this type of pain where like they might die. And so then the other Trolloc stops what they're doing and walks over there and has a sympathetic moment. And I'm thinking in my mind, oh, this is cool. We're kind of getting into a little bit of the Trolloc culture. We're like, maybe we're going to see that they're not just mindless beasts and they care about each other. It's like, oh, maybe this is a couple. Like my mind is going places.
Right.
Because they showed like a brief moment of softness, and then this Trolloc just eviscerated the other one and ripped its guts out and decided it's dinner time.
Any hope that there would be any sort of redemption for a Trolloc of that nature? Of the Dark One's creature, gone.
So it was funny to me. It threw me off. I was like, okay, that's a good twist.
Interesting. That's really cool.
Obviously, the writer was trying to do that on purpose because it was written and directed where one Trolloc appeared softer at one point. And then boom. But this goes back to what the show has established with their teasers is that twist. If I look back at episode 2, we had another killer twist again with the villain. So I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Now, Nynaeve the way she escapes, I went, oh, she's reacting, she's not acting. Because they had this moment where she could get away. I wanted to see something that she caused to happen
Okay.
that got
Okay.
her to escape, because
Okay.
that makes
Yeah.
her more active. That gets me more interested
Right.
in her. What do you
Ab-
think?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I think that while it's an interesting twist in one
Yeah.
direction, absolutely, it just kind of, it almost feels this sense of like, hey, it's kind of convenient that this little
Yeah.
moment happens between these two Trollocs that gives her the option or the out, right? And
Yes.
she
Yeah.
has that moment to escape. But again, exactly what you said, there's got to be an active
I
sense of
agree.
they're causing their own kind of, steps in front of them. So
I always worry when I'm working on a project,
yeah.
is this a story convenience that
Yes,
allows my character to go where I need them to go? Or is this character actively making this decision? Because I really want to root for Nynaeve, but when I see situations like this happen, I go, well, anybody would have ran away,
for
you know?
sure. Yeah.
So I think what kind of redeemed this teaser for her was the pool scene or the
Yeah.
water scene where, she really got dirty with it. And I
Yeah.
thought that was
Yeah.
awesome,
Which
seeing
is
her
really neat.
tearing, yeah,
Yeah.
tearing to this Trolloc like Rambo style. I was like, all right,
Sure.
cool. I
Mhm.
can get behind this. I was really happy with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But it is an opening sequence that, like you said, same with the second episode for me, just, it's like, oh yeah, here we
yeah,
go. This is what I'm talking about, kind of
yeah,
thing. Right. Yeah.
yeah. And then like, whoa, where are we
Yeah.
going? Like
Where
it
we
just
go. Yeah.
totally shit. So I like that. That part keeps me interested, and I really want to see the next episode to be like, okay, what do they do next?
Yeah.
Because I
Right.
like, I mean, I know stories, so I like being led down a direction and then have them flip the script on me, which they've successfully done, and that's really hard to execute. So,
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
kudos to the writers for that.
Right. Right.
Um, I don't know about you. I'm really excited to see all the characters broken up and going in different directions.
Yeah, yeah, it's so again, it happens in the book around this time. Obviously they've gone a little further in the journey and then they
Right.
kind of split. But at this point in the book, when this arc happens where they do split up, it's really cool to see they all each get to experience different aspects of the world that they only heard about as kids,
Yeah.
and now they're out with the tinkers, they're out with the
Right.
traveling gypsy people essentially.
Right.
They're going to these other towns and villages and they're seeing things that they only kind of heard about, in
Yeah.
childhood stories. And so it's really neat because I actually do like that they went that direction and stuck with that really from the actual source, which is,
Okay.
okay, here's the path that each of them are going to take until they can figure out how to reunite, or they do end up reuniting.
Well, they're going to, obviously,
Yeah, I
but
mean, clearly.
you got to break them up. You got to break up the band. It gets interesting. So
Mhm.
I'm really glad to see that's where it's going. I was worried they were going to all come back together in this episode, and then it would be like, but no, this
Oh,
is
yeah.
great. They're all going on their own adventures. I'm loving me some Perrin. I don't know what's going on with the wolves thing. I keep thinking this guy's gonna like catch a full moon, turn into a werewolf, but I'm loving the wolves thing. I think it's
Oh
super
gosh,
cool.
that's so great that you love it. I like that
Yeah.
you love it because
I'm sure it's nothing, but like for
no,
me, like
I
my
think
mind
you're,
goes somewhere.
I'm not going to spoil things, but I think you're onto something.
All
So just
right.
keep that in
I'm
mind. I'm
loving
glad
it.
you're hopeful about it.
Yeah. All right. So I'm like comparing. I like that they're working in the complexity of him offing his wife.
Yeah, starting to
And the
evaluate
fact
that.
that it's layering in, he's overprotective. He's like, let me go first. And she can see that he's overcompensating for what happened. I like
Right.
that because I hope they just bleed that thing out consistently while working through it.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I really like his subplot. I really also find it fascinating how, the past couple episodes, as I was loving me some Matt and Rand, I was like, it was feeling vanilla to me.
Uh-huh.
But now Rand's plot line is picking up. He's
Yes.
getting
Yes.
some color to him.
Mhm.
And then Matt is like, Matt, you're a little on brand right now, dude. You found something shiny and you're looking
Again.
at another shiny thing. I was like,
Again. Yep.
yeah. So I like that they're adding some depth to the characters and bringing in some conflict there.
Yeah.
And especially with the character where I was like, now I like to see that we're getting some depth there.
Yeah, and that's actually one of my favorite parts of this episode is Rand getting some really amazing moments. He is not the most popular of the characters in the series, weirdly. But I actually like Rand, and I really like the journey he goes on. And so this actor is just so adorable. He just does such a great job with doing these little quirks about Rand's character that are actually pretty spot on.
Oh, that's cool. Can you give me one? Can you give me one, something I can keep an eye out for?
Oh, like a character quirk to kind of keep an
like
eye
a
out?
trait.
Well, I mean, he's always I don't know like what the best one is. I'm trying to think in the episode so that I'm not like really spoiling anything.
Oh, I got you.
I mean, the bond and the relationship that he has with Matt is really interesting, because it's something to really, I actually would keep an eye on that. It's very, very unique in that their friendship is just so brotherly, and it's really neat to kind of see that coming through. But then he does have an internal struggle knowing that Matt's always causing trouble. Matt's always getting him into things that, and so he's torn between like, how do I save my friend? How do I protect my friend and not leave him? But I know that he's taking us down a path or doing some things that are really getting us into some mess. So it's a struggle for Rand kind of with his friendship with Matt. And I think that's really something interesting to kind of hang on to.
I think so. The one thing I found with Rand, and maybe this is what you're mentioning, is he has this hidden inner strength that plays itself out here and there. We're like, Perrin's obviously he's a bigger dude, so you think this is a powerful guy. Rand, he's a little bit more, I would say, lean, but he has this inner strength that comes out of nowhere and kind of turns it on, and I think that is really cool. And I can see if that's what you're talking about, that definitely conflicts with Matt, because Matt's a weak person.
Right. I mean,
internally,
internally he's very weak. He struggles emotionally, obviously mentally.
Yeah.
And so, that's kind of, again, that's where that dynamic of the two of them is going to be really interesting to see them carry through the next few episodes.
No, I did. I like that. I thought the barmaid was really interesting. I like that twist there. I was like, okay, what is going on here? So that was a really cool scene. The bard, I was like, what is going on? We got a bard now? This dude's just over here jamming one man show. I thought that was cool.
He's pretty iconic too, and really plays a part in kind of how
I kind of assumed the way they introduced this character by plopping his foot down Captain Morgan style, pulling out a guitar and jamming out. I was like, obviously this dude has some kind of following. I felt like I was being introduced to the Wheel of Time version of Boba Fett. Like this dude just walked on to screen. So I was like, okay, something is going on. This dude's a big deal. Yeah. So,
which is so funny because like in the books, he's a little older. He's a tried and true gleeman. He comes into town. He does a lot of magic tricks. He plays different instruments. So he's more of that kind of really like stereotypical kind of like gleeman aspect. And the showrunner and the writers were like, we want to modernize this. We want to take him in a little bit of a different direction. And this is kind of the path they went with it. And for me, it works. I like
it. It works. I mean, he's singing, so that's cool. And then there's foreshadowing, of course, with the song.
Of course, in the song, because he's looking right at Rand as well. If you didn't,
of course. And he pickpockets Matt, and Matt's a pickpocket. So either Matt's the worst pickpocket in the world, or this dude's pretty sharp.
He's been around. He's been around.
So I thought that right in of itself tells you a lot about this guy, the experience level, his character level. If we're going to play Dungeons and Dragons, he's probably epic tier. So legendary dude. So,
oh my gosh, the fandom's going to love that you said that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yes. Yeah, this guy's a level 20. So I'm saying with his character, he's singing. He's introduced singing. Now we had a song last episode.
Yeah.
Now I'm going, is this a thing? Are we going to be getting musical numbers pretty regularly throughout the show? Because that's not expected to me.
Yeah, and it's a carrying thing too. I don't know if you even noticed with they may have not gotten into much more detail about it, but the traveling group of people that Perrin and
The
Egwene
Tinkers,
finally meet up with, they talk about the song.
Okay. So this is a
And
thing. This is
yeah,
like
so
lore.
it's a theme in throughout.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So you will see that kind of come through
Yeah.
through all of the story threads, pretty much.
All right, well, that's good to know. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. That's something that they keep alive. So
Yeah.
I felt like for a minute there, I was like, I feel like I'm in Skyrim. Like there's just a lot of music going on. So I thought that was cool. I am interested to see episode 4, but like I said, I'm not. It hasn't grabbed me yet. So
Okay.
I'm really curious to see where this thing goes.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see how I'm excited now for episode 4 because I really want to see how you feel in terms of, okay, now we've hit episode 4. I should be at the point where I really am kind of grabbed. I'm a little more hooked,
exactly,
a little more invested, right?
So I would say my favorite character, I mean, I'm loving me some Perrin. Matt's pretty great. I really want to be wowed by Nynaeve. And I say this because the way she was introduced in episode 1, she was introduced as a character that seems powerful. If you're going to introduce a mentor character to one of your central characters, that mentor character needs to be powerful. But she was introduced as a Jedi. What is it? Oh,
what do you mean?
Oh, magician or something. Like what is
oh so, well, she's not an Aes Sedai, right?
No,
is that what you're saying?
But she has some kind of magic, right, within the
village. So they like, in at the end of the day, ultimately both of them can channel.
Okay.
They don't know what it's called. Well, they know what it's called, but they don't recognize it as that.
There was a big scene in episode 1 where she's in the forest and they're listening to the trees.
They're listening to the wind.
Yep. She has magic abilities. We haven't seen it yet.
Yes.
I want to see that scene. I mean, we got the huge moment with Rosamund Park, throwing a village at creatures. I want to see that with Nynaeve, right? Because we haven't seen it yet. And I was like, when she goes to heal Moiraine, I'm like, this is the moment, right? This is where Nynaeve is going to shine. And she just squeezes some pus out and then puts some moss on the wound. And I was like, okay, what is going on here?
Right.
So either I recognize. Okay, so she doesn't know yet. Okay.
She doesn't necessarily know. I mean, she knows the talent in her mind. What her talent is being able to obviously heal with, medicinal aspects and things of nature. And then, being able to do the weather and listen to the wind and those kinds of things. But in her mind, that is not associated with being able to actually channel. I
understand. Well,
she'll eventually learn, right? That's what it is.
I can tell you as a viewer, subplot wise, they're building this into something. I'm hoping for a payoff. It's just, if we don't get a payoff, then it's a discredit to the character, especially if you're going to build them like this. So I'm hoping to see something. I don't need like lasers out of her eyes, but I definitely want her to have like a big scene. You know what I mean?
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's coming.
All right. Yeah. Well, you would know. So, all right. Do you have any final thoughts?
No, I'm just, like I said, this is kind of just one of out of the 3 of them, probably the one that I enjoyed the most so far.
Okay.
And I'm like you, like, even for me, even knowing the original source stuff, I really try to step back while watching them and separate myself from that, just so that I can be in the mind and the viewer's mindset where I'm just a normal viewer and I'm watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
And I still don't feel I would have probably been hooked as much by episode 3 if I didn't already know the source content. I probably would have still been in kind of along the same lines as you, where I'd be like, okay, I want to see where this is going. I kind of want to, but I don't feel like I would have been as grabbed, much like you, by this point.
I think that pilot episode had so much going on.
Yeah.
It almost feels like it's not even associated with the rest of the show. I know that doesn't make sense, but to me, it almost feels like you're watching a movie and then they make a show after the movie. That's kind of
really interesting.
That's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah.
I hate to use the feel word, but
me too.
The show has got its voice episode 2. It's continues its voice, episode 3. Episode
Mhm.
1, it feels standalone. Almost, I hate to say this, but like Babylon 5, when Babylon 5 came out
Hmm.
100 million years ago, they did a TV film and then they started the show after that. And that's kind
Oh,
of
interesting.
what this felt like. It felt like almost like a soft launch for the show, and
Okay.
now the show is kind of getting into it.
Yeah,
You
yeah, I
know,
can definitely see
I
that.
could be alone on this hill. I could be dying on this hill. I'm not trying to start any fights. I'm like, this
No.
is just my interpretation.
Yeah,
So
I actually agree with you. And in fact, there was even a moment in my random just, well, what would I have done? Well, how would I have
yeah,
approached, that kind of thing.
yeah,
'Cause we as writers do that. And there was even a moment in my mind where I thought, maybe if that pilot had been a little longer, if it
yeah,
had been a 90-minute pilot. And now you saying that makes sense, because in my mind, I felt like a 90-minute kind of pilot start
yeah.
would have really had filled
It
a lot
had
more of those
everything you
gaps.
needed, and then
Yeah,
you
that you
launched the
could
show
move
from there.
forward.
I think that would have worked. The
Yeah.
other way, and this, I'm going to pitch this to you now, since we're showrunners or something.
Because we're the showrunner, so
Yeah,
sure, do it.
since we have a say. So the other thing that they could have done, if other than the 90-minute episode where they could have really birthed the world more, is they could have done what they call like the second episode pilot, where you
Okay.
come in to the story already happening. So instead of
Yeah.
coming into like the world and then learning about everything, you come into like they're on the run. What is going on? You've got
Okay.
these guys
Yeah.
come at them. They don't have eyes.
Yeah.
So like you could have come into it that way too. And it would have been a hell of a lot more of a challenge, but
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
but you would be coming into the voice of the show. So there is, yeah.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I can see both ways kind of working. But yeah, that
Yeah.
I really like. That would be definitely a challenge, right? That would
Yeah,
be
because you have
really interesting.
so many characters.
Yeah.
It would be hard to do, but if you have them on the run, there are ways to do it. You might have
Oh,
to
for
be
sure.
a little less. You might have to be, I should say, a little bit more creative and flexible from how the book is. I think the way they did it here, I assume, really holds truer to the book. And there you go. So there's
Sure.
some sacrifices that need to be made.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Makes sense.
So this episode is brought to you by the Script Summit Screenplay Contest, where you can win $1,000 cash or even a chance to be repped by a Hollywood talent manager. We had 2 get repped last year. And Kristy's been part of the summit as well, and has taught seminars for us, and at one point was even competing. So
I know.
It's a great community. We're excited to have everybody around. So you go to scriptsummit.com for that. And episode 4 next week. I'm ready.
Yes, I'm ready too.